Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to have a quick look at Stellarium. Stellarium is the software that I use for these videos. It's free, it's available online. I just updated it, so this is the current, the latest stable version of Stellarium 24.2, so 2024. Stellarium is a free software, as I mentioned. You can download it from stellarium.org. Here we are. It works on basically everything. There's various ways to download it. There is a web version, so you don't have to download anything. It's free and open source, so you can make changes to it yourself. There's a whole community where scripts and landscapes and other things are shared. You can donate to it, but it is free if you just want to download it and try it out, and it is a lot of fun. Now that I have updated to the latest version, I can talk through some of the features, some of the things that I use. And one of the most important things for me is the hotkeys. So here we go. This is a list of the different keys. You can change the key bindings if you need something that's more suitable for you. You can see that a lot of them use the mouse wheel. You can do a lot of these things just using the trackpad on a laptop as well. That's what I do. There's loads of them. There's loads and loads and loads, and a lot of them I don't even use. I use a few of the hotkeys, such as L to fast forward time, J to slow it down and then reverse it if necessary, K to bring it back to running at the speed it normally does. So you can see here, that's time running as it normally does. You need to click the play button again to actually freeze time, which can be useful. When you start up Stellarium, I'm not sure where the default location is anymore. I've been using Stellarium for nearly a decade, and I always change the default location to Cork. Which is something you can do. You can change the default location to anywhere in the world. This map looks nicer, clearer, more detailed than the map before I updated, which is nice. I can definitely see Hawaii over there, which I don't think I quite could in the previous version. So you can set your default location to wherever you want, and you can, using the settings over here, whatever you decide, whatever the level of light pollution, whatever the location, you can save those settings as your default. So mine starts up with this field of view from this looking this direction, and the location, all of those things are things you can put in as defaults. So I've used the hotkeys to move time around, L to move it forward, J to move it back, K to bring it back to normal, and then the play button down here to completely pause it. There are a few default things on the tray here, some really useful ones like the constellations. So I don't need to use the hotkey C to bring up the constellations. I just use this down here. The names of those constellations, the art of those constellations. One other hotkey I do know is B for the boundaries between those constellations, and this all looks lovely and clear. So I'd say there has been a few cosmetic changes as well as new objects and other things with this latest version of Stellarium. Here are a couple of the grids, the equatorial grid, the azimuthal grid. I don't use those much. The atmosphere and the landscape, of course, I use all of the time. We've got the cardinal points, so you can turn off the cardinal points around the side, but I like to generally keep them up. I've got my planet Saturn labeled. That's usually the default. I can take away that label if I want to, bring up the labels for deep sky objects. All of these things are easy enough. Some of them I'd hardly ever use, like the equatorial versus azimuthal mount. If you are using a telescope and you know what kind of mount it's using, that can give you a couple of options. Centering on the selected object, you can do the same with the spacebar. So if I use my mouse to select Saturn there with a left click, hit my spacebar, it'll zoom into it. Left click anywhere else to unselect it. Right clicking doesn't really do much. I'm sure it does something, such as scrolling through the years, but dragging the sky around with a left click is easy enough to do. Once you have something selected, it's control and the arrows to zoom in as much or as little as you want. You can use the forward slash or the backslash to jump close to it or far away from it. We'll zoom in a little bit further here just to get a closer look, if I can. Here we go. So zooming all the way in on Saturn. This is it viewed through the atmosphere, so we can see that little bit of glow, and we can take away the atmosphere while we're zoomed in, no problem at all. Some of the best or some of the very useful features of Stellarium, so we can see here time is paused, which means if I deselect the object, it will stay there. If time wasn't paused, the Earth would continue turning and it would move out of view if you're not following it, if you're not centered on it. So, of course, with the location window, you've got any location on Earth. Over here, you've also got all of the different planets, minor bodies, asteroids, moons. There's loads of things that you can take a view from. We've got our date and our time. It will do it in Julian as well as Gregorian, so we can see those changes there. The date and the time is pretty easy. You can type in what you want or scroll up and down. There's also the sky and viewing option, so of course there's a lot we can do here, including my light pollution slider, which is one of the most useful things for me, as well as being able to turn up the amount of shooting stars to arbitrarily high, well, not arbitrarily high, it maxes out there at 240,000. The highest ever rate recorded in 1833. There's various other things you can do here as well, like showing up the orbits of various planets and different things you can select. There's also the solar system editor, which allows you to add in your own objects to the solar system. So, for example, if you wanted to see what it would look like if there was a planet like Saturn much closer to the Earth, you could drop that into the solar system editor and take a look at how that would look like. These are the different catalogs that it's going to show objects from. You can filter them, not a part that I use very often. Here are where I would go to grab the equatorial grid or the ecliptic to bring that up. There's various different things you can bring up here, and this is where I usually come, even though a lot of them do have hotkey options as well. There's various landscapes. I've used Zero Horizon on this channel before. Ballycroy is a location in Ireland. It's a dark sky area. The Wild Neffin National Park, so that will give you the view from there. There are a lot more sky cultures after getting added in with this update, and over here these are various surveys that you can pull objects from. So yeah, it's got the solar system there, various surveys, various things that look for things, and these are lists of objects that you can pull in to Stellarium if you'd like to take a look at them. The Simbad catalog is the default if you're going with the search menu. So now that I've turned the light pollution way down and the meteors way up, the atmosphere is still on. So let's zoom back here. Time isn't running, so there won't be any meteors, but there we go. Lovely dark sky. We've got the Milky Way arcing overhead. There we go. I let time play. There was a meteor immediately. There we go. Loads and loads of meteors. That's the incredibly high Leonid rate that I have mentioned in previous videos. It's always nice to find an excuse to put that up into the sky. The search window is phenomenally useful, especially for objects that we can't see with our naked eye, such as Pluto. There it is, above the horizon, along with, nearly every other planet. I'll double check to see if Pluto is still up when Mercury is rising, but there is a lot of planets in the sky at the morning, and we do still have Saturn in the sky when Mercury comes up. Let's just check. So all that I'm doing here is using the arrow keys to move the sky around if I don't want to drag it with my mouse, hitting L to speed time forward, K to stop it when I feel like it's gone far enough, L to speed it up again. Yeah, Pluto sets before Mercury comes up, so that's unfortunate. We won't have the dwarf planet in the sky with the most of the major planets. We are a little bit, no, we're not too far into the future. Mercury should be coming up any second. There we go, just before Saturn goes down, so they're all still visible in the sky. Looking fantastic here in the countryside, even if there wasn't a major meteor shower, much bigger than what we could normally expect happening in this simulated version of the sky. So back down to the normal rate of 10. We'll unselect Pluto. It's gone under the horizon now anyway. The search window, as well as allowing you to that's the configuration window. This is very useful as well. As I mentioned, you can save your default settings down there, choosing the amount of information you want to show on any object. I always go with everything, but you can trim it down if you'd like. There's various extras here. Getting extra catalogs for stars is handy, especially for certain distant objects. This decides your start and your startup time. So I just use the system time and date. I'm looking at the sky from where I am. So if you need to make changes, Stellarium will normally adjust if you travel from your default location to somewhere else. It will factor in the changing time. These are options for a planetarium. So Stellarium is a free software that you can use through various projectors to create a planetarium, as long as you have the curved surface to project onto. There is also a professional version. I use Stellarium exclusively, but there is a version called Nightshade, which was developed out of the same software that is designed. It's a much more powerful but much more complicated system designed for planetaria of various sorts. These are various scripts. So these are journeys that other people have created, and you can use them, for example, to look at various solar eclipses as they're happening, look at different sky cultures. There's a few different things that they can show. The plugins over here, I have a few of these active, such as the solar system editor, but there's lots of different things here, including remote control, which lets you control a telescope using Stellarium, which is a really useful and powerful feature. Of course, we've also got the simulating the view of a telescope through various oculars up here, which I have made a whole video on, but here we go. There, the limiting magnitude, that's a new one. So this is roughly how faint of an object you could see using this tool. So let's go down to slightly bigger telescope. There we go. So 15.72. That is the limiting magnitude of this whole thing altogether. Turn up the lenses here a little bit. Yeah, that's giving us a great view of Betelgeuse, but of course we'd be able to see Betelgeuse anyway. I'll try and pick out something fainter we might be able to take a look at. It's going to be hard to do, and I will end up getting distracted looking for interesting objects in the sky. But if you'd like to see more of that, you can always stop back to look at a few more of my videos. I hope you enjoyed this quick run through of just the basics of how to use Stellarium. I always use the hotkeys, the arrow keys with control if I need to zoom in and out, or just the arrow keys to move around, J, K, and L to orient yourself in time. Oh, and the equals to and the minus to go forward day by day. That's a useful one as well. I will certainly make more videos about Stellarium in the future, but I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please do like it. If you'd like to read some of this information, you can head to my website, queebeanscontent.ie, and hopefully I'll see you back here for the next video.